Hello, welcome to another video diary. I pulled this card this morning that I really liked. It's from this Rooted Woman deck. The card I pulled was the Fall. When we heed to the call to change and step off the threshold, imagining that we're going to set our feet firmly on the new road ahead of us, we might instead find ourselves stumbling, missing the path, and plummeting down into the dark. Let yourself fall. Sometimes we have to let ourselves fall in order to kickstart the process of transformation to which we've now committed ourselves. We have to let go of old ways of thinking, of old limits, to let the old ways die to make room for the new. Because once you've stepped across that threshold, it is for sure a severance, a kind of death. You can never go back to what you were before. There's no question that it's hard to fall forward into the wind, to let yourself topple off the edge of all that's known and familiar, even if that old life isn't serving you. And at some point during the fall, you might find that you're flying after all. Love that. Allowing the unknown to be a friend to you instead of a foe is a major awakening. People are so stuck in their disguised comfortability, and I say disguised because I don't think people are actually comfortable, and I speak from experience. When you are comfortable, usually it means you're stagnant and you have this unshakable anxiety at night, and you have these callings that you're not following, and there's this sort of emptiness. So what we deem as comfortability really isn't comfortable. And paradoxically, to surrender and to flow, you have to sort of swim against this current of fear and aching and growing pains. I always write about how if we perceive through a lens of paradox, much of our bewilderment will be cleared. And that is one of the biggest paradoxes of all, is that to really be comfortable and be in a sort of surrendered state, you have to chase discomfort. And that takes a perspective of seeing fear as an opportunity and seeing pain as a gift, which is really hard to get to. And I think it's impossible to get to without being grounded in some sort of spirituality, because there is nothing earthly that is powerful enough to truly guide your hand in these tough times of change. I mean, if you look at really any problem going on in the world right now, it all leads back to a lack of spirit. These toxic relationships and physical warfare and greed and cult-like institutions and all of it, it all leads back to people's lack of connection with God. And a distrust in the unknown is very symbolic of that, because the unknown is the divine field. It is the field of potential that was created by God. And how can we tap into that with trust if we don't have faith in a higher power? It's impossible. And I try to use my language carefully, because I'm not saying subscribe to a specific religion, and I think people get really touchy with the word God. They have these narratives associated with it. The message stands no matter how you want to label it or describe it. Language is too small to fully encase what I'm talking about anyways, and if you know, you know. A lot of the places that we are stuck in this world is because people are so tightly clinging on to their beliefs. Any sway from them, any questioning scares them, because that means letting go. That means welcoming the unknown. That means a death of sorts, just like the card was talking about. There is so much fear of change because there's so much fear of discomfort. And where does that fear of discomfort stem from? It's because people aren't confident in their capabilities. And what is that awareness of your capability? It is awareness of the God in you. And so again, it all leads back to this lack of spirit and connection with God. And it's like, okay, well, where do I start? How do I get to this place where I can actually believe in something greater than myself, greater than this earth? I think a prayer is a good place to start. And I read this quote earlier that I wrote down. We should never wait for science to give us permission to do the uncommon. If we do, then we are turning science into another religion. And I feel it. I think in the beginning of my spiritual journey, a lot of me was seeking proof, and I did find it. And there is validity and use in that. And so read about it, read about human capabilities, and read different spiritual texts and see what you think of them. I think so many people, too, they come to these conclusions without ever even exploring the intelligible realm. It's like, why do you even believe what you believe? There's a notion of if you don't explore the best arguments for the other side, then you don't know what you believe in. And I think that's applicable to a lot of people in today's society. It's like they just believe it because maybe they were told it as a child. Maybe they see it all over social media and they're just following the common people's belief and, being a sheep. And a lot of people don't sit with themselves. A lot of people distract themselves, and they're feeding all these stories into themselves, other people's stories, and that's creating who they are. Like, when's the last time you just stared at the water, stared at the sky, and really dissected what was going on inside of you? A lot of people don't do that. Again, because it's uncomfortable and they don't trust that they can move through that discomfort. But you can. You can. You not only can you, it is such a gift and it will help you. It is a blessing too. And the discomfort actually feels good. The pain, you can get to this point where the pain almost makes you feel alive. That's a page in my book. It goes something like, please don't lie. I know honesty hurts, but it gives me reason to wonder why. Please don't sugarcoat words. The pain of truth makes me feel alive. It's something like that. And obviously, if you're relying on social media and others to curate what you believe, you're just falling straight into the traps of propaganda. You are their favorite victims. And, you know, you can blame education and institutions and government all you want, and they have played a huge part in the downfall of our society and in these limiting perceptions. But at some point, you got to look in the mirror and say, well, what can I do about this? How can I rewrite this? How can I not let them win? And it comes back to you. So I think a lot of people spend a lot of their energy blaming the outside, and all that blaming, in all that victimhood. You're not unleashing the power they're so adamantly trying to distract you from, which is the power of God that lives within you, the power of creation that lives within you. Anyway, that was my little spiel for the day. Remember to take life seriously lighthearted. There is a perspective and a place in our hearts that we can get to where life is not our battleground but our playground, and only then can we actually start fighting the physical wars that are going on, the spiritual and physical warfare. When we rise above that fear mentality, that's when our true power shines. So incorporate saying yes to the unknown in little ways. And next time you're standing head to head with fear, remember that fear is a grain of sand and you are the stars, baby. You got this. You are so capable and powerful. And a little pain, a little discomfort, got nothing on you. So, anyway, love you guys.